the Steam Gauge Overhaul. Now, to talk about some of the features, this is like off the what? Right? And this just, you know, as a little kind of a warning, it's not the finished product. If anything breaks or if it doesn't do what it's expected to do, it hasn't been released yet, so fear not, okay? So, well, what does it do, right? The panel of the aircraft contains only fully 3D gauges modelled and coded to meticulously match the real-world counterparts, right? There's an 80-page manual. There's like 45 in-game checklists that you can follow. And then we have a detailed description, okay? Now, a caveat to all of this, the product is an interior and systems overhaul only that makes use of the default Microsoft Flight Sim King Air exterior visual model. Improvements have been made to almost all aspects of the aircraft except for the visual appearance of the exterior. All the default King Air liveries will be compatible with the product. Nice. So if we're looking around the cockpit, as you can see, I hope you guys can see it kind of clearly. Let's check it out. So if we go down to the side here, they all work. Everything works, right? Everything works. The window opens, right?
Hey, good morning.
Mad stuff, lads. Absolutely mad stuff. The wind visor thingy. Do these work, actually? What they do, look. Jesus, they do, lads. Dan, who is this? Dan Chilwell. Many thanks, my dude. Welcome in. Look at this. It's like everything works. It's like fantastic, right? So we'll put that back over there. Has all the electrical panels, has all the stuff. I need to show you the night lighting. They've done a bit of tidying up in the interior as well. It's absolutely beautiful. Now you can't get into the cabin, which is kind of weird and strange, but oh well. We'll stay up here at the front. So, well, we can follow the checklist. I have an idea how to start these things, but just to show you the checklist, right? You have your before starting the engine. So your pre-flight inspection, we'll tick that as done. Emergency lights on if it's nighttime. Where are they? Click on the little eye and it'll show you. See the way it highlights it? As a normal checklist does. Fantastic stuff. The air stair door, well, it's not modelled. Emergency exits, they're not modelled. Cabin loading, complete. Seat belts and harnesses, secure. Park and brake. Where's the park and brake? Ah, sure, look, that's where it is. It shows you where everything is, right? So I'm going to see if I can start this up, you know, Murph style. Which, that's what I love about this plane. It'll allow you to do both. Yes, it's fully coded to follow the real world systems. And like, the navigation options off this thing, it's off the chart, lads. It's like, absolutely off the chart. You can use GPS, you can use VOR, you can use DME, you can use everything, and it's highly, highly accurate, right? So to start, we're going to start off at the very beginning, and we're going to use our oxygen selector. And that's in the up position. It means that we have the use of our systems, right? And then we'll go for the battery. The battery is located over here, in which, I don't think I can flick that up, but the battery just comes on. Battery on, and the little guard goes up. And we have some sounds straight away. We're going to put on our nav, and our beacon light. We're on the tail floodlight for the crack as well. Getting some warnings. We can see our annunciator panel is up and running, and we can hear some of the systems starting to come alive, right? Now we need to go up to our lighting panel, and we can see the electrical system is working. So if we go to the gens, they're not reading. If we go to the battery, well, we're getting volts here of about 28 volts. It's a 28 volt DC system, and that runs off like a 24 volt battery. So we need to turn on some lights. So we'll put on the master panel lights. You can see a draw already on the battery, and we'll get some lights just to make everything look nice. The sounds, it has sounds for everything. And I'm also going to arm the emergency lights. Sweet. Look at that beautiful blue teal thing. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? So a battery is on, it's running away, perfect. Next thing, we're going to go for our engine start. And how to do that? Well, we're going to check our fuel quantity. So we have standby pumps, they can stay in the off position, but we can also test to make sure that the fuel tanks are working, which they are. That's giving us the main tank quantities, which is nearly half. And then we have auxiliary fuel, which is giving us total fuel of about half. Okay, we've got about 50% fuel on board. Now, there are a couple of things we need to do to start this aircraft. So first and foremost, we're going to make sure that our controls are set. So there's our throttle, there's our prop, and then we have our mixture over here on the side, or your condition lever rather than mixture, right? Werner, 6989, welcome in. So what we're going to do, we'll keep the old takeoff and feather, we'll keep it just in the idle position for the moment. We'll increase all that once we start, all right? So we have some lights on. When we're starting up this aircraft, you need to turn on the anti-ice systems for the engine, and these are audible. So we'll turn on the right. You'll hear the flaps open, the doing the thing, and we'll do the left, right? Now we can see that we have plenty of options. We've loads of lights on here giving us warnings, and also we have the avionic options. So this is showing off the GTN 750, which is it's an add-on, right? But we can also go to the standard stuff. So that's showing you, like, this is like a weather radar. This one here is it's just your nav system with a DME, and then you have your comm and nav channels, and then you have a transponder down here, and you can change these completely. Look how customizable they are. Isn't that brilliant? I love that. Click of a button, it's just fantastic. That's a pretty cool setup there, isn't it? We'll leave it on this one for the moment. I like this one, right? Do I see a prop sync? I think you do, and it works. Look, the button for prop sync. Oh, this never worked before in the sim. Oh, behave, right? All I ever wanted was a prop sync. But anyway, so engine anti-ice systems are now on. Our lights are on, which is grand. We're going to roll down here, and we're going to turn on the rudder boost and the electrical trim. They come on. Cabin altitude, we'll set all that. So if we want to say, right, we want the cabin to remain at 4,000 feet. Look at this. This is how this little wheel works. The outer is going to show you what the cabin altitude is going to be at. So if you had it like at 7,000 feet, which for people would be falling asleep rapidly, right? But anyway, it's showing you at 4,000 feet, the maximum altitude which we can climb is going to be 22,000 feet. If we go beyond 22,000 feet, the cabin altitude, because we're pressurized, will increase. Okay? So let's see what happens. So they're turned on, grand. And well, as I said, I want to start this machine. So to do so, we have engine auto ignition, and then we have an engine ignition start. We're going to hit these guys. As we do that, all these gauges here are going to start coming alive. You need to be careful because you can hot start this aircraft. The thing will go on fire, so you've got to be careful, right? So the secret here is allow the prop RPM to spin as fast as it can before you start injecting the fuel. It just means it keeps everything kind of calm. When that happens, we should see the ITT rise. It'll peak in and around 900, give or take, and then it'll drop down again. It'll hold for like a second and then drop, okay? If it goes off the chart and it breaks, well, then she breaks. And again, if you see any abnormalities, don't worry, this is not yet the finished product, okay? So, right, let's see what we can do. We'll open the window for some sound, right? Let's see if it works here. So, engine auto ignition, arm it. Hear the ticking? And now go for start. And let's see what happens. So we can see the turbine RPM starting to move. We're going to wait till it gets to around 1900, right? Prop is spinning. Up on 1900. And we're going to introduce some fuel. There's the ITT. She's going to peak and then drop. And we're getting a good start. So we see prop RPM is stabilizing around 60. Turn off the ignition. And we're good. We've got a good start. And now we're going to activate reset and then turn on the right generator. And if we have a look now at our right generator, we can see it's now drawing power. If we go to the left generator, there'd be nothing there, right? So next up, we're going to start the left engine. So to do this, ignition on and engine start. And the same crack again, we're going to let the turbine RPM increase, and then we're going to jump it in, right? Close the window. Gets rid of the ticking noise, do you know? So, turbine RPM is going to hold very close to 20. Introduce some fuel. ITT is going to rise, it'll peak and then drop. And then you can see the engine RPM increase. Or torque, basically, right? Fill up my old beverage here, lads, do you know? Okay, we got a good start. So, engine auto ignition goes off, engine start goes off. Now we're going to continue on with our checks of getting the aircraft ready to go, right? So we can see there's a number of warnings here. Need to get our generator for the left engine. We're going to reset it, and now it goes active. At this stage, we can now turn on our inverters. Inverters are running. It's telling us that we need to turn on our auto feather. We're going to arm that. Our engine anti-ice, turn them off. Rudder boost is off, is it? Turn it back on. Rudder boost still off. Interesting. Okay, we'll put on our bleeds. That's going to give us our environmental power, which is SAV. We also have, like, you can put it into auto mode, and this is all modeled. I mean, this all works. It's fantastic. Go ahead and click on our avionics. Avionics coming up. All the flashing lights, lads. Isn't it cool? Now, what mode is this in? It's on, so we can go to test or standby. We'll leave it on standby for the moment. Are we at? So, GTN is working. Now, quick check on all our systems here. So, that's okay. Put that onto GPS. You have a message flashing. Get rid of that. Altitude alert. We'll just pop this up to about, I don't know, 10,000. That gets rid of that. Reset our barometric pressure. Although it's reading 29 or 9 or 2. That's interesting. Rudder boost light has gone off. Perfect. Propeller pitch. We'll sort out all that here now in a moment. So the bleeds are fine. So we'll turn on the lights in the cabin master switch, and also the coffee machine. All the electrical components are fully modelled here. And when you start turning things on and off, well, it has a huge impact. You can see your electrical systems fluctuate. Same with the load on DC power. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, right? So as we continue on, what else do we need on here now? This is where the L checklist comes in, but sure, it's grand, right? Gentiles, leave them alone. If you open them, you'll get a warning light here. And if you close them, there you go. You get your green light there, all right? So recognition lights can come on. Pitot heat can come on. We have a prop governor test. We can go through, like, every single checklist is available. It's all there. It all works, right? Now what we can do, we're going to put our prop RPM up. Right condition and low. That's okay. Leave that for the moment. Aft blower, put it on. Now where's the auto mode? Vent blower auto. There we go. Cabin air, we can open and close that. That's up to us. Flight hours are located here. Oxygen is there. Cabin air, gyro, pneumatic pressure. Everything works, lads. It's fantastic. It's great to finally see it, right? So we'll cancel out these warnings. It also has the fire system modelled as well, if you're like a devil and you want to, you know, break your engines and stuff. It's pretty cool, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to put on our taxi lights. Reappear. Well, windshield... put them onto normal. And what we're going to do, have a quick look outside. We're looking okay so far. And we're going to taxi this machine out. Now, we're going to keep it in low idle. Lots of flaps. Park and brake coming off. As we roll forward, we want to test the brakes. Brakes are working. And we continue on, right? Hey, Echo Tango. Good to see you, man. Welcome in. External power is off. We'll just double verify that for ailerons, look. So external power is off. You can flick it on, you get a little warning light to say external power is on. We can just disconnect that, okay? So the gens are on, batteries on, inverters are on. We're pretty good, lads, we're pretty good. So we're here in casement, we're just going to taxi out here. Now, a couple of things. Once we take off, once we get airborne, we can absolutely turn on the lights of the autopilot. We'll get the yaw dampener on as well. The landing lights and taxi lights are actually built into the landing gear. So when you actually up the gear, when the lights come off, you just want to turn off the switch. Now, let's just ramble over here. I love when I see the mod saying, "Behave yourself." Okay, so we got ourselves lined up here. What's the wind doing? Yeah, we're okay. So we got ourselves lined up here on the runway. Just tapping the brakes. Now from here, what we need to do, we're going to increase now from low idle to high. And everything's coming up. The propeller pitch, all that's going to just fix itself. You'll notice, depending on what engine, you have a huge imbalance. This indicator here is showing you, in terms of the props, how is it affecting it? Once we get airborne, we'll turn on the prop sync. It just means if that's spinning hard left, we're going to drag to the left. If it's spinning hard right, we'll drag to the right. It's to do with the speed of the props, right? And the wind even has impact on that. It's amazing. Now, while we're here, all our lights are on. Don't need ice lights. Strobes are on. I think we're good, lads. I think we're good. Transponder. We can do it from here or here. So we'll put it. We'll try here. Look, we'll go altitude mode, and everything. They all talk. Every system talks to each other, right? So we'll turn on the old weather radar. You've radar altitude if you want to use it. Entirely up to yourself. So I think we're good, right? Okay. Power coming in, slowly does it. You got to be careful. You have governors on this aircraft. If you over torque, the governors won't catch it in time and you can do serious damage to the aircraft. So we'll slowly accelerate. We're waiting for the green lights to come on for the governor. Brakes off and power coming in. There we go. So takeoff power set. Airspeed is alive and she's rolling. So 100 knots, we're looking for 110. Getting light now. Yep, see daisy. Positive rate of climb, we're now indicating. Gear comes in. I'll just keep it at around 10 degrees pitch. There's 140 knots, 300 feet, and start bringing in the flaps. And again, we're just watching how the aircraft is behaving. Ramble down, we're going to turn on the yaw dampener. And we can turn on our prop sync. A little bit bumpy, but we're okay. Go ahead and turn off our landing and taxi lights. Now we can continue on. So far so good, lads. Sound is sweet, like they're the default sounds, but they've added in just a couple of click spots here and there. But it's the flight model. The aircraft feels, it just feels better. I don't know how they do it, do you know? So yaw dampener is on. Let's have a look at our autopilot controls here, right? So let's have a look. We have heading mode, we have course, V-speed, all that jazz. It's all located here, right? So if we go to heading mode, on our HSI, we can turn the heading. So if we head due north, right, and we put in 10,000 feet, we can activate the autopilot, and we're going to go to heading mode. Now, as soon as you put on the autopilot, it'll actually hold your pitch, which is real handy. Where are you? Heading mode engaged. We want to climb. V-speed is on, and we can adjust this by using up or down arrow. So it's going to be level at the moment. You can also do it from you can do it from there as well. That's down, I'd say, is it? Okay, so V-speed is coming in. Aircraft's turned to the right. And so far, so good. So as we're flying here, you're keeping an eye on all your temperatures and pressures. Torque was off the chart, Murph. Man yourself. Way to break the plane. Bring our torque back down. Prop RPM. Drop that a smidgen. And we're looking good. Fuel flow is good. We can see our temperatures and pressures. A little bit high. Oil pressure is a little bit high, but that's going to drop now because we've kind of calmed it all down. What else do we need to show? There we go. Now, I want to show you the night lighting on this, right?
Hey, good morning.
Wait till you see this. It's a random badger! Welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard. Look at the state of the night lighting. Isn't that absolutely incredible, lads? Like, even the reflection on the window, look at that. I love that. That's, the sim can do such amazing things, can't it? But like, that amazing Beechcraft colour, it's just fantastic, lads. Amazing. Amazing lighting. So bring this back a smidgen. So as the aircraft is flying, it's, as I said, it's very different than the default, right? You have so many systems at play here, and you really kind of have to manage what's going on. You're keeping an eye on the annunciator panel. You can see your cabin pressure is working. And when it comes to the failure list and just things to be watching, the general behavior of the airplane, it's by the book. It's fantastic. So we can see your systems here. When it comes to repair your engines or like refill the oxygen, failures, the whole jazz is here. So engine conditions are 71%. Sure, listen, I'd break iron. Do you know what I mean? Now, we can also have a look at the failures, right? Random failure and the global failure rate. And you can have detailed settings over here. Do you want a left engine failure? And so on, and so on, and so on. It's unbelievable. The amount of stuff you can put in here, right? What else? Random or scheduled. If you go back in here, we can see we can repair and repair all in real time. The reason why the engine condition dropped is because, well, I over-torqued it. You know what I mean? You can actually see your torque here. So let's test it, right? Let's bring the torque up over 100%. There's 110% almost. Let's keep an eye. Straight away it's starting to drop, look. 98%. Isn't that awesome? So like you can, not to say you can damage the aircraft in real time, but you can damage the aircraft in real time. Isn't it super? And it's really handy the way they're just like, oh yeah, sure, we'll put it in there in the old weather radar, you know? Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we'll go to our heading now and swing it around to the right. On you, devil. What do you think? Doesn't it look fantastic? A Steam Gauge King Air. If it was just an aesthetic upgrade, you'd say, yeah, it looks brilliant. I mean, it's fantastic, right? Just having steam gauges. But it's not just a case of having steam gauges. This thing is completely study level. And if you look here very carefully, right? See the fuel gauge indicator? See that line there? Well, if you mess around with the airplane, right? Autopilot off. See the way the needles move? It reacts. The fuel is pretty much like swooshing and swishing around in the tanks. It's read by those needles. It's just, what? How did they do it, you know? And the other challenge, if you want to absolutely fly this thing old school without GPS, you absolutely can. I mean, you can use the KNS 80 and you're flying by DME. You can put in your own waypoints, VOR. It's all there. So like if you like, you know, if you want to do a complicated approach like they had to do back, you know, before GPS, back in the 80s, you can absolutely do that in this airplane. It's fantastic.